All right, y'all. I know it's been a minute. Hope everybody doing good. But recently, J. Cole had said something in his podcast run. These interviews that he's been doing with after the fall off dropping, something interesting about how albums ain't really considered classics no more. Now, I hear a lot of opinions nowadays, and that one definitely can be debatable. But he also dropped a point about how a lot of streamers aren't in it for the love of the music. A lot of the reactions you hear on YouTube nowadays, they're basically kind of forced. They're basically more for engagement and more to carry a hate campaign on the artist than actually caring about the actual craft of the music that, said streamers react to. And then a lot of other times, it's agendas trying to be pushed with, music that's out nowadays that a lot of streamers try to push and try to act like is really good. For example, if you recently seen the Plax Boy Max stream with Too Slimy, I think it was Song Wars. A lot of people like I'm Dante, even Southside 808 Mafia, he was on there. DJ Academics, of course, he was on there too. And they were genuinely keeping it real with bro, saying this shit is not good.
But that shit ain't nothing. That motherfucker, I give him a 0. I ain't gonna lie, I don't care if the fan base get me whatever. They told me he popping or whatever. But I don't like that. I know he got some other shit that's better than that, gang. I thought this shit was a joke at first.
Bruce.
Why you laughing? I'm gonna give it a 2.
I bet. Act.
I'm gonna give that a 5 respectfully. I'll give it a 5. You know what I mean? The efforts did, I guess.
Nah, keep doing your thing, gang, but I'm giving you a 0, gang.
Dante.
I was trying so hard. Everywhere I go, this nigga's name keep popping up, and I was trying to give him a chance, and then I heard, I'm gonna give it a 0, but it's still fuck ice.
Now, as somebody who's listening to Slimey's, I've given his music a try. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you call music, not a fan. Of course, not a fan, but that's okay because it's a pocket of people on the internet that actually like that genre of music, and that actually correlates to what J. Cole was saying. It's more of a niche thing nowadays. You go in corners of rap, you go in corners of hip hop, you go in corners of music, and the fans of that niche of music will tell you, oh yeah, it's a classic. But undeniably, an artist dropping a classic now, there's always gonna be detractors. There's always gonna be people that, well, it wasn't for me, it ain't that. Like even Cole himself, I've seen people try to downplay the fall off ever since it's dropped, and I think the fall off is definitely gonna go down as a classic with time. With more time passing by 5 years from now, I can definitely see myself still listening to this project, even considering if it is the last J. Cole project he does drop. But besides that, I recently wanted to really get on here and tell people what's been up with me as far as me not doing album reactions anymore. It doesn't necessarily tie into what Cole says, but it's necessarily more for self-reflection. Basically, I've been doing YouTube for a couple years now, and I've always decided that album reactions was a niche that I would try just for the genuine love of music. Once again, genuine love of music. You check out my album reactions, may not be the best quality, may not be the most consistent with the timing and the scheduling, but one thing you can tell to the people that do engage with my videos, and that I definitely do appreciate, there's always a consensus of people that say, man, your reactions, they're very relatable, you know what I'm saying? And of course that's how it should be, because every first reaction should be depending on how you feel. You shouldn't be here to impress the internet or even get on the artist's good side, you know what I'm saying? If you're a fan of the artist and you like the music, of course that's just a plus, but you should be able to keep it real with artists nowadays in this era of, streaming and content. And a lot of artists, they can't take critiques. They can't take criticism. But then again, other times artists can smell out bullshit. Because as an artist or as a rapper, imagine working on a piece of music that you consider, soulful or important to you, only for people to come out and hate on it as soon as you drop it and make it available to the public. And then you got the whole problem with people leaking music, which is a whole nother problem within itself. Leaking music has been around, though. That ain't necessarily no new shit. But as far as me, I looked at my views and just said, maybe album reactions aren't the way to go. My dad had even brought up a point, and it's just, my fall off reaction. 2 hours long, 15 views. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But even with him saying all of this and even suggesting new concepts and new ways to get my content out and just tell my story and entertain the masses, because that's really what you're here for. You know what I'm saying? You really here to be entertainers. Everybody that turn on the camera, you here to be an entertainer. I don't give a damn what you know what I'm saying? You out here to find your audience and you out here to entertain. That's if you, not necessarily for the purpose of fame, but for the purpose of being somebody on the internet, being a brand, being a business, being a comedian, being an artist, being a businesswoman, being a businessman. Everybody on here, I'd like to say, is a brand. And I've been building myself as a brand for the last couple years on and off, but music is a big part of that brand. And if you still listening to this video, obviously I would like for you to subscribe. I would like for you to like, comment, share, all that good stuff. But even if you don't, just understand the YouTube algorithm and how it works. I'm not really fancy familiar. I hear little tidbits here and there, you know, post on shorts, post consistently. Consistency, man, that's a word when you get into content, that's like the number one word people are going to throw at you. Consistency. But what happens when you feel like you're consistently running and then you just keep running to a wall? Well, that's the talk I kind of had to have with myself. If I claim to love music as much as I say I do, then it shouldn't be nothing for me to turn on the camera, react to what I want to react to. But in this economy, I guess it's kind of hard when you're looking at the Castanets and the Mr. Beasts and even the Speeds. Like, Speed is doing such a great job as far as like streaming and actually translating it IRL and taking it over the top, like globally. Like, he's going to Africa, he's going to Asia, he's actually traveling with his viewers and his followers and letting them know like there's more to that side of life as far as just being on the internet and being chronically online, which is a great thing. Now, Castanet, on the other hand, he's reading publicly or trying to start a clothing brand, and people are hating on him for that. But even in some, let's go back to J. Cole. J. Cole has been on a interview run. He's been on a podcast run since his album has dropped, like, you know, an artist should do. A lot of people, they ain't happy with that because of the answers he's giving. He's made it clear that he's still cool with Drake. He's still cool with Kendrick. He has immense respect for those two. He's told us stories that supposedly has happened within the last 2 years. I know with Cameron, there was a lawsuit that eventually ended up in basically revealing it was a promo run to get J. Cole on the It Is What It Is podcast with Cameron. And a lot of people, they seem to be disappointed with J. Cole's answers and a lot of things as far as pertaining to the fight he had with Diddy years ago back in 2013, allegedly, which, you know, I think both parties have confirmed that is a real thing, and other people outside of it. So J. Cole's name on TikTok, Twitter, it's been ran through the mud, you know, and there isn't really a time within the last 2 years it hasn't been. But one thing it's been showing me is that as far as people having a role, people are gonna hate on you. People are gonna hate no matter what you do. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, just like he said and she knows. You know, because he can sit here and explain and then turn around and rap. There's already people that have their mind made up. There's some people that support what he say. Me, as far as somebody who's here for the music, I feel like however he feels, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? He has immense respect for both men. It's been noted. But the public reaction I've been noticing and seeing, I've seen one person just say, you know, he need to shut the fuck up and rap. Why is it that? Why is it he need to shut the fuck up and rap when at the end of the day he's doing promo? He's genuinely, see, when it comes to public figures, J. Cole comes off as at least one of the more genuine public figures in rap and hip hop. But it seems like with the apology and everything that's happened within the last 2 years, people ain't really looking at J. Cole as that genuine guy. And then they're bringing up the No Name situation, which I ain't gonna lie, if you still bringing up the No Name situation in 2026, you just need to go and look up the interview that No Name did where she spoke about it, basically said it was a misunderstanding. And even this, the whole tweet she did saying how rappers don't really march during that time, even though J. Cole and Kendrick were spotted protesting during the George Floyd protests during the pandemic during that time, made the whole shit null and void. But that's neither here or there. I'm not here to talk about that situation. Basically, moral of the story is, damned if you do, damned if you don't. At the end of the day, you can be truthful with yourself. You can be truthful with the world. You can do what you want. You can come as how you are. People are going to play their role, and they are going to hate. They are going to ignore, and they're going to focus on whatever other bullshit is out there that's more meant for them. But that is not a reflection on you. So when I look at my YouTube, yes, it's more things that I could be doing. Yes, I could be more consistent. Yes, I need to be more visible. But what I decide to do on here when there's an influx of circus like bullshit on the internet, this cesspool of just Wi-Fi connection and parasocialites and just weird personalities all scattered throughout this motherfucker, man. I'm not the problem. Now, do I have flaws? Of course. I have to work on those flaws as far as a creator to get to where I want to be and be more successful. But other people's words and other people's suggestions and other people's advice, that ain't necessarily a reflection on me, because whether I do what I want and I make the views, I earn the views that I need or I feel like I deserve, or whether I do what other people say and then I get no views, you have to question, are you doing truly what you want to do? Are you making the content that you want to make? Other people, they're gonna ignore you when you at 500 views, 700 views. I've been at 700 subscribers for the longest, and even in some, I don't know when I'm gonna get to 800. I've been trying to break out the 780 bubble for a minute now, but when I do, eventually I'm gonna be at 7,000, and I'm gonna be at 70,000, and then all of this video right here won't even matter, because this will be just me reminiscing and just venting to my YouTube, my current 700 subs, or how many people is on here. I'm a little buzzed. Basically about what I think isn't working and why I stopped this and why I stopped that. But the truth is, I'm not stopping, because music is truly what I love. And if you feel like you represent it and you bleed it and you want to be that, then you need to carry yourself as what you want to be. And I am an artist, I am a creator, I am a content creator. So instead of talking about it and acting like I'm a podcaster and gossiping on everything that's going on out here, I need to use my words and use the example I just gave, you know, with not only J. Cole, but everybody else, everything else in society. Like, you can take any public figure. At the end of the day, people are going to root for you when you're the underdog, but then you make one mistake and bam, now all of a sudden they want to see you lose. That's just the psychology of the world. That's unfortunately the psychology of the cesspool of people in society we live amongst. Even with the way the politics is and the way the government is and just the way fans are parasocially, I can truly say I'm blessed to be at a time where I've never been more focused on what's more in front of me. What's behind me is behind me, and I just want to capitalize on what's in front of me, being this opportunity, this channel, and all my platforms, and all my, I guess you could say, creative savvy, and mix it with the business savvy to earn the success. Not the fame, because the fame ain't really number one. That ain't the priority. The priority is the success, the financial stability, the financial comfort, and the freedom to roam the world and roam however I would like. But moral of the story, I'm not done with the album reactions. I'm not done with music reactions, period. I feel like I just needed to turn the camera on and really give myself a kick in the ass and remind myself why this really matters to me. And if this channel matters to you, and if you've gotten this far in the video, I really appreciate it if you subscribe. Gap TV, big project I'm working on. Big project. I can't even really say much about that. I can, but trust me, I don't want to. I just want you to subscribe, tune in, and we'll see you on the next episode. You dig?